As if tarmac, snow and gravel aren't punishment enough, now comes the exhausting heat of Kenya. To many, this 50-year-old competition represents rallying in its purest form. The cars cover vast distances across hard, open terrain, and it's an immense physical challenge. Obstacles to overcome range from flash floods to wandering wildlife. They call it a safari rally, but are the drivers the hunters or the prey?
Hello there and welcome back to some more WRC. Today we'll continue on the Let's Play. This is episode 8. In today's episode we are taking a look at perhaps the most unique rally in the calendar, the Rally Kenya or Safari Rally. Yeah, a pretty interesting rally that was supposed to be brought back this year until that thing happened, which would have been interesting to see how the new cars would have coped with this. I don't think they would have done very well, and I think the teams were breathing quite a sigh of relief when it turned out their expensive aero packages weren't about to get completely demolished by the African wildlife. But we shall go ahead and see what this rally brings. Namely mud, but you never know, we might see a exotic animal or something of the sort. And also we'll hope to keep on our train to the top of, well, the WRC globe. I'm fairly certain we've got the championship on lockdown at this point, but, you know, I mean, what's better than, you know, winning a championship? Absolutely crushing every single person in that championship. That's the way racing series are, you know, killed off, isn't it? But we don't care about that. Also, something interesting to note about the Safari rallies is that the cars actually gain a unique aero package when they are competing in this. We get a snorkel and a bull bar on the front of our car. It doesn't make that much of a difference, but it does look pretty cool, and it's a unique touch exclusive to this rally, as far as I'm aware. Also, one thing worth noting is, while I certainly don't remember my first playthrough of this game, this is as far as I got in my first playthrough of this game. I actually got to the Kenyan rally and then the game turned out it didn't save. So beyond this, and even this I think I only played through about 2 or 3 stages, I am completely blind when it comes to this game, although in fairness, as I said, I really don't remember the first time I went through this game anyway. Also, I haven't played it for about a week or so, this should be fun. Actually, that's a lie, I played this for the thumbnails earlier, but that wasn't so much actually paying attention to the way I was driving. That was more just a case of paying attention to making thumbnails look cool. We are on for a pretty decent result though, because Burnsy is in second. We'll have to see how long he sticks there, but so far so good for him. Always like to see Burnsy do well, because he is our Subaru teammate after all, you know, gotta fly the Subaru flag strong. Can't remember if the game audio is in the correct place or not. It might be slightly louder than it was in the previous episodes. Not sure. I might change that though. Holy crap. Okay, we are back to our usual pace. Schwartz is in 4th though. If I do remember rightly actually, the one place the Skodas were actually quite good at in real life was the Safari Rally. Because they were quite big cars, they were actually built really tough as well. So I think if I recall, the Skodas were actually pretty good at the Safari Rally. Before you ask, I have no idea what the Hyundais were actually good at. I don't think anything. But, yeah, no. I do recall reading in real life the Skodas were quite good. Although, that being said, I believe Colin McRae had a pretty good knack for winning at this rally. I think he's won a lot of Safari rallies. I don't know if he won it like 3 or 4 times in a row, but I'm fairly certain he won in 2002, and he won in 99, I think, when the Focus was first introduced. So, yeah, Colin McRae has a bit of a knack for this stage. That car is very dusty. It looks like we've just driven it through Tony Montana's apartment. Anyways, let us continue on with the championship. I think we did pretty well there. Also, we've got to rename ourselves again. Let's try not to name ourselves Emile this time. I can see how I made that mistake last time, but yeah, no funny Emile for the next few episodes, I'm afraid. Alright, well, let's see how well we did. We got a Subaru 1-2, Didier, Ford driver, Harry Rovenpara, and Armin Schwartz got 6. Okay, Skoda's in the points. I think Skoda, we was looking at Skoda to do quite well because they're dropping down the manufacturer standings a little bit. Okay, stage number 2. I'm starting to realise this game has ridiculously long loading times. Like, the loading times in this game are ridiculous. So I think once I put this game on the second channel, which is going to have no commentary, the episodes are going to be a lot shorter. Actually, as I've started cutting out the pause screens from these episodes, the episodes are about like 5 minutes shorter, which is quite funny. You might notice the dramatic turnaround in the runtime for these episodes. In all honesty, I think if I fully cut down the pause screens and never showed any of them, didn't speak through the first few of them, for example, as I did in this episode, I think I could get these episodes down to about 17-18 minutes a piece. So, yeah, the rallies in this game are incredibly short. I kind of like it. I know some people might hope for a little bit of longevity, considering real-life rally is a very long and grueling sport. But considering I'm not able to keep a car in one piece for more than 2 minutes at a time, this suits me quite well. Good old Didier's in second still. Peugeots don't usually do so well at Safari, from what I remember. I know I've seen a video of Richard Burns do horribly wrong things in a Peugeot at this rally. Although, in fairness, I feel bad for Richard Burns and Peugeot, man. Because that should have been such a winning formula, you know, Peugeot and the former world champion, who's one of just the greatest drivers of all time in rallying, but yeah, that car never really suited. That's a Rai. Burns a Rai, come on. We're going to get, I mean, in fairness, if the Subarus are going to do well at a rally, Subaru is a byword for reliability, so long as I don't own it, apparently. So, yeah, my experience in an Impreza was not one of reliability, it was one of a car that was on its deathbed, and as it turns out, it very much was on its deathbed because it died a few months after I sold it, which was, I guess, a lucky escape, question mark, so, I don't know. I'd kind of like to give the Subaru thing another go at some point, but I'd want a decent Subaru, like a Forester. I mean, I wouldn't mind owning another Impreza, but like, the WRX SL is the only one that really entices me. I'm not too much a fan of the EJ25 unit, I much prefer the smaller EJ20s. And even then, I prefer the twin-turbo EJ20s that were in Legacies, so, Wow, Burns and Rai, 3rd, 4th. Awesome. Didier's doing quite well, but I think Didier might even be sort of right up there for the championship points at this point, because he sort of stealth does well. We focus a lot on Mackinnon, Sainz and Ford driver, but Didier's quite up there as well, from what I remember. So, yeah. 3 Subarus in the top spot. I mean, Marco's still useless, but apparently Tommy Mackinnon and Delacour are useless here as well. And Sainz, actually. So Solberg, Didier, Burns, Rai, Ford driver, and Schwartz once again in 6. So we've got 3 Subarus in the top 6 currently. So 3 Subarus could be scoring points by the end of this. And would you look at that? Stage 3 of the rally and 3 Subarus in the top 6. I'd like to get all of them in the top 3, but Didier seems to be doing quite well. Unless we can hope for some of that good old-fashioned Peugeot reliability to kick in. Which I don't really think was a thing in WRC all that much. Can't actually remember what the most unreliable car was. It was probably the Hyundai at this time. Because that car was pretty unproven, shall we say. I'd imagine so anyway. I never really hear too much about unreliable WRC cars all that much. I guess the Fords were in like their first few years, but by 2001 that was pretty well sorted out by that point. So, yeah, I think the Focuses were when they first came in 99. So, maybe the Evos were as well, because the Evos really dropped off a cliff in terms of their performance while Subaru stayed relatively consistent. So I don't know if Mitsubishi were having issues keeping that car living. I'm not too sure. Burns in second. No Rai this time, but hopefully he's sort of with us. He had a little bit of a gap to Can't remember who he was fighting for. I think it was Signs he was having a little bit of a fight with. So, and again, Marco is his typical useless self. Cannot be trusted to drive a Subaru. I think out of all the drivers in Subaru, actually, in terms of the in-game splash screen where it said how many rally wins everyone's had and how many points they've scored, I think he is actually the worst Subaru driver. He is 3 points in 21 starts, I think. And Araiwa's 17 rallies to 4 points, and Solberg has 10, I think. We are, obviously. We had to go with Solberg because he's got the best name. And again, he's an unproven amateur in this game who obviously won't amount to anything. No, not at all. Being beaten by Burns, I'm not too worried by that, considering the gap we have, and also Subaru for him, but I doubt it's going to last either. No wildlife seen so far. Unless that's an ancient species of helicopter in the sky, who knows. But, I mean, you might have spotted an animal, I don't know. But, I certainly haven't, other than occasional white dude flexing. So we only just won that rally, and apparently Didier had a crazy last sector, but then again so did we. So, I ain't gonna argue with that one. I also think another part of the game where I'm really losing time is auto-saving to memory card. Which is kind of funny considering it's not actually auto-saving your career. Oh, we did get another 135 finish. Rovanpera's coming in as well. Rovanpera knocks Schwartz down. Arai's got a pretty good lead now though over Rovanpera, so hey, maybe we will get 3 Subarus in that top spot. It seems that the Subaru team's starting to come along a little bit more in its later stages. Stage numero 4 in the good old Safari Rally. That Snorkel seems to be adding 50 horsepower to us, although we were pretty dominant in all the other rallies as well. I'm more keeping a gap on the gap between Arai and dropping down a place instead of how much of a gap we've actually got over Didier at the moment, but I can't wait for people to have a go at me about Didier's name. In case you're wondering, the first episode at the time of recording this has not gone up, although it is scheduled for Monday. Shout out to Rhino GT4 for the PNG images of the WRC logos that you're going to be seeing in all of these WRC LPs, because I plan to cover them all, and see if that actually happens, but currently that is my plan. So, but yes, no, special thanks to Rhino for those, because finding the PNG images of the logos for these old games is a nightmare. I'm not entirely sure they exist either, unless he's just got a good place to find them all. So shout out to him. Of course, you might notice the LP thumbnail looks a lot like the Vice City one. I think in terms of Let's Play, that is probably the thumbnail design I'm going to go for now. Because I think it works a little bit better for games that don't quite have replay cameras or work in weird resolutions. Because of course the standard thumbnail sort of type that I use normally works pretty well in games like Forza, that are, you know, lovely grand spanking 1080p games, and even works on like 720p games that actually run in 720. But I remember during the Gran Turismo 4 thumbnails, they were not quite so fun to make, so especially now that I've got some slight competency, and by slight competency I mean I know the basics of GIMP now, so I can sort of make thumbnails a lot easier out of PNGs and stuff. So I think that shall be the plan going forward. Hopefully you all like those thumbnails. I've got pretty decent feedback from them. They're nothing spectacular, and I know they're sort of slight copies, I guess, of all ones, but people seem to like the Vice City ones. Especially when I was sticking my logo over people's heads, which is probably going to be something I do for games where I have an opportunity to stick my logo on top of people's heads. Not this game though, it's just going to sit over to the side, so. But yeah, no. Do let me know what you think of the thumbnails, if you like. But so far so good. I mean, the thumbnail doesn't really matter all that much as long as it isn't super clickbaity, which I don't have the genius to really do clickbait all that well, so I don't think I can do that sort of stuff. Not quite as flashy as the thumbnails you'll see on like Thunder's channel and stuff, where he's got the little switch and stuff like that. But then again, with driving like this, I don't think I really deserve to make nice thumbnails. That's probably lost this stage quite badly. I was doing really well. Although knowing this game, I probably have actually still got fastest sector despite a horrible off there. Yeah, and all I'm seeing is trees and red people. Not really seeing much in the way of animals. Lots of... I guess they're 3D trees? They look 2D, even though they are actually 3D trees. Bit strange. Yeah. If you ever wanted an advertisement for how kind of ridiculous this game is on normal difficulty, there you go. I would hate to know how much we would have won by if we didn't have that major off. I'm actually going to have to learn how to drive a car properly when we get to the professional difficulty. But we shall not worry about that for now. We've still got 3 Subarus in top. And Arnold Schwartz got 4th, so he should... Okay, he's beating Tashai. I mean, usually I'd take an issue with that, but because he's driving a Skoda, we're fine with that. Wow, they've got a huge... Wow, Carlos ain't getting points in this rally. I am happy with that. I'd be happy if Burns was beating Didier, but... other than that, wow, we are doing really well in this rally. Results I like to see. Let's keep it up in this final stage. Alright. Final stage of the Safari Rally. Let's see if we can keep our lead. Wouldn't imagine that's too much of an issue considering we are 30 seconds ahead of Didier. But hopefully Burns can knock off Didier, because if we could get a Subaru 1-2, that's a lot of manufacturer points, especially if Arise still up there. I don't know if you can... I don't think WRC changed at this point. I know later on they made it so only 2 drivers could score points for the manufacturer standings, but I don't think that was in place at this time. So with our 4 manufacturer drivers, we should be alright. Then again, I think the rest of the manufacturers have got... I'm trying to think, there's 21 drivers in this? Between 7 cars, so... Okay, some manufacturers probably only running 2 cars. I'd imagine like Skodas and Hyundais and stuff. I think... No, Ford ran 3 cars. Mitsubishi might be only running 2. I don't know, I'd have to have a look. Citroen also probably isn't running that many. The only Citroen driver I know in this game is Jesus. Who unfortunately has not scored a point. My hope is Jesus will score a point at some point in this, but probably not. That's not quite as much as I need you to beat Didier by Burns, but if we can do 1-2 in this final rally, I'll take that too. But a pretty competent display for good old Subaru Pro Drive here. We're really starting to mop up the manufacturer's points in terms of this rally. Excuse me. And indeed this season, which is always good. Again, you know, I'm more invested in the manufacturer points now than I am the actual championship standings. As we all know, manufacturer points are what count. And if we was a F2 kit car driver, that'd be true. Schwartz is 4th. Skoda's going to score some points in this as well. Hopefully that lifts them, because I believe they're in a tie currently with Hyundai. They might even beat Peugeot. No, actually Didier's up in points. So Peugeot and Skoda are actually going to score some decent manufacturer's points, which is probably going to push Hyundai way down. Remains to be seen, but yeah, Peugeot and Hyundai. Peugeot, Hyundai, and Skoda are sort of in a battle to prove who's the least worst at the moment in terms of manufacturers' points. Which in real life wouldn't have happened because Peugeot was pretty bloody dominant in the sport, but yeah, you know, it's a video game. It's a video game. You know, in 2001, Peter Solberg did not win every single rally in the calendar. as awesome as that would have been, he is not Sebastian Loeb, who also didn't do that, although I don't think he was actually that far off at one point.
Into left 1.
Yes, that is... Oh yeah, I forgot, the left ones, it's actually reversed in this game.
And finish.
They do severity different to the way they do it in Dirt Rally. Oh, Didier got second again, but we definitely won the entire Safari Rally, which was pretty easy. I enjoyed that though. And Finland's apparently next. So let's take a look at all of the standings. So Solberg, Didier, Burns, Ford driver, Schwartz got 5th, Rye got 6th. And points wise, we get 10, Didier gets 6, Burns gets 4, Ford driver with 3, Armand Schwartz gets 2 points, and Rye gets a point. Awesome. So there we go, the world's toughest rally, and we certainly kicked the arse out of it. So in terms of the actual points, Richard Burns remains 4th, although he's got a little bit more of a lead over Ford driver, who moves from 5th into 6th. Freddie Loix scores no points, although apparently he's tied with Didier now, and Arise in 9th. In terms of manufacturer's points, we get 16 points, Ford gets 6 points, Skoda gets 3 points, putting them into 4th, Hyundai gets 1 point, and Peugeot gets none. Okay, Citroen's actually the worst currently, which is funny as well, but yeah, Hyundai and Peugeot tied, Skoda goes into 4th. Awesome stuff. Anyways, that's it for this episode of WRC. Do hope you've enjoyed. Next time, we're going to Finland by the looks of it, so join us for that. Until then, farewell.
You know what I'm saying. The sorrow that my heart holds in, knowing just where my hopes and dreams are going. I won't let you play. Got up in a war that you are not part of. Eyes on the slit of your